Well, hello. Today is getting towards the end of the season for my garden lettuce, which has been in there quite a while, and with the heat of summer, you have to get it out, which what does that mean? Even more salads, which guess what? I am someone that eats salads obviously all year, but so much throughout the summer because I have the greens, and you gotta use what's in season, and it's so delicious and crunchy and fresh. What you grow at home always has so much more flavor. So today is encompassing fresh sweet corn, chorizo, lettuce, a great dressing. You know what, when it's salad time, it can be full of flavor and so much better than you think. This is not some boring salad. This is like a salad. So to start, I just wanna get some onion going. Well, what we're really gonna do is, instead of just having corn on the cob, we're gonna chop it off and then we're gonna saute it. And we're gonna get tons of flavor on it, get the fresh sweetness out. That really, to me, what is more, I say this a lot in the summer because so many things are becoming ripe, but what is more the essence of like ripe summer than sweet corn? I mean, when you get some good ripe sweet corn, my goodness, the flavor is like bar none. And it has like that great sweetness. We're not talking out of season sweet corn. We are talking in season sweet corn that is maybe growing locally. So I'm gonna take this over. I have some oil heating in a cast iron skillet on the stove. You can use any skillet, but I love the good sear that you can get on cast iron. Do you hear that? So we're gonna let it saute, and I just want that onion to slightly get a little bit soft before we add any type of corn to it. I'm gonna get the oil on it, and I'm also gonna add some salt. Because salt doesn't just season it, which I like to season all throughout when I'm cooking something, but it also helps break down the onion and get it to kind of break down and soften a little bit quicker. So we're gonna saute it, and we're gonna cut off the corn, and we're gonna add it right to here. So I'm cutting the corn off the cob just because, one, yeah, it makes a mess when you cut off the cob, but it's gonna saute easier, and I think you're able to get more flavor all around it, and you cook it pretty quickly that way. I just like to get all those big, beautiful kernels off. You know, there is nothing, I don't care what you say. Frozen corn is good, don't get me wrong, and I put it away in the summer, and I freeze my own, but when you can have it fresh off the cob like this, so good. So I'm gonna add this corn right to all the onions that are sauteing, and it's gonna cook pretty quickly. We're gonna have to stir it, but it's gonna turn bright yellow, and that's kind of that wonderful thing where you know it's ready. It gets that beautiful color on it, which means all those sugars are coming out. It's making it even sweeter. I add just a little bit more salt because, again, I like to season every layer. It makes a huge difference. So I'm gonna saute this up, then we'll move on. So this cooked just enough. Now, I don't like that corn to get mushy. You don't take away the whole point of this fresh corn. You want some great texture on there, and you want the sweetness and that bright color, but then it's like, once it gets bright, it's done. So we're gonna get all the corn out of there. It smells so good. I'm taking my chorizo, which is a delicious, has great spices. It's like a sausage, but so much better. And we're gonna add it right to that same skillet, and we're just gonna break it up. We're just gonna let it cook. We're gonna let it really just like get all that crust on it, cook through. This salad has layers and layers of flavor, which if we're gonna make a salad, you want it to have tons of great flavor, tons of great healthy components, but cooked in an amazing way. So that's what we're doing. So we're gonna cook this chorizo, and we're gonna move on to it's a pretty good dressing too. It is. The chorizo's done. We're gonna let it cool off slightly, which we need to make the dressing. Now, if you're not used to buying chorizo, do not buy the weird stuff that is in a long tube. It's just like oily, greasy fat. It's weird, and it's like soft. Instead buy, this is a ground chorizo. You can also sometimes find it in a casing, kind of like a sausage or a brat, and you can just remove the casing and then cook it like this. Just buy a good chorizo because it makes so much difference. It has so much flavor. You cannot go wrong. So, the dressing. This is the fun part. We're gonna take some avocado. I love avocado anyway. And the flavors with this, it has a richness, obviously, but it also just has that like great fattiness to it that you kind of need to balance it out. It has that great green flavor that I love. I am grabbing my yogurt from the fridge. I am someone that when I make dressings, I like a creamy factor sometimes. It kind of depends what dressing we're having, but I like something to kind of balance it out. So I like a good Greek yogurt. You could do a sour cream obviously too. But I think it kind of adds that great creaminess to it with a little bit of tang, and it really to me just makes a difference for a great dressing, and I love that. So for the flavorings, we're gonna add, it kind of gives it some acidity, but a little bit of the juice from some pickled jalapeños. One, it adds like a great kick. You can also add in a few of the jalapeños itself. That will not hurt anything. After the pickled jalapeno, which seriously, a little bit of spice, a little bit of tang, it's so good. We're gonna add lime. So anytime, you have always an acidity in a dressing. It can be your vinegar, it can be lemon juice. In this case, it's gonna be lime juice, which I think, again, with the avocado, with that yogurt, it just all goes together. And you're kind of getting this great play on flavors. It's kind of waking everything up. And as I sit here, I think what is great about this salad is, it's almost like a play on a taco salad of sorts, because you got that great spices in the chorizo, and along with kind of like so much of like an earthy, kind of like sweet spice flavor, and then you get that wonderful sweetness from the corn. And I'm getting all those smells right here, and that's what I love. So to that, we're gonna add a little bit of smoked paprika, which it adds that great earthy, smoky flavor without any heat, and that's what's great about it. It's not like a chipotle, it's just like a nice kind of sweet, smoky flavor. Along with that, if you can find it, Mexican oregano. One of my favorite things to use because it has that like special quality to it that you're kind of surprised by, but also it just kind of balances everything out, and that's what I love. A little bit of salt, because you need that to balance out the flavors, and a little bit of oil. I always will call for a neutral oil oftentimes, depending on what I'm using. And that can be a lot of different things. I like to use a grapeseed. I like to use sometimes an avocado. This is an avocado for this, and it works well. But anything that's gonna kind of just not have too much flavor, because sometimes an olive oil can be strong flavored. When I'm doing dressings, I love my immersion blender, you guys. You don't have to worry about emulsifying it, because it like does the work for you. Look at that. That's what's great about immersion blender. It does the work. It's easy, it's simple. I like to make sure I clean it off because it has all that goodness on it. But like, look at that beautiful dressing. It gives you that great kind of creaminess. And what I like about it is it really holds up. So there's enough like oomph to it that it really sticks to the salad, I'm gonna taste it. Always, ooh, the smokiness just kicked in. That's good. Always taste your dressings. They may need to be seasoned slightly, whether it's salt. In other dressings, it could be a pepper. It just kind of depends. So we have our components here. Now we actually just need to put together a salad. Now, there's all different kinds of ways you could do this. For this one, there's something to me about it where I like to take some of these big pieces of lettuce and kind of just have fun with them on the bottom. I think I like to have the bigger pieces. You can cut them in half if you need to. But the way they kind of hold up, to me, they just kind of present a salad perfectly. And I like kind of the display of that. Do what works for you, but to me, this has just a beauty to it. And of course, I'm always someone that's gonna mix my lettuce. Like right here, I think in the garden, I had maybe some Tom Thumb, which is like a Buttercrunch. I had this beautiful speckled Romaine variety. And they all are just delicious. They all have this great kind of seasonal sweetness to them. So as you're building it, you can kind of just put the components on. So you can put some of this beautiful corn, and you can kind of just like layer it around. You know, room temperature, chilled. You can make all this the day before if you want. I do think the corn and the chorizo has more flavor when it's at that like room temperature kind of. The chorizo, I mean, look at that beauty. It has just like that great, I like to cook it long enough that it gets some crust on it. So you get some of those kind of crispy bits, which really kind of plays well and actually just kind of gives you some great texture in there. I mean, look how pretty that is. I'm gonna put a little bit of the dressing on. Dressing's one of those things, it has such a personal preference how much you want and how much you like to have. I like just enough. You can sometimes dress the lettuce before, but I like it just to kind of play like that. So I'm gonna clean up, I'm gonna get a plate, we're gonna try this, and I'm gonna tell you how good it is. So at the end, I like to put a little bit of Cotija cheese on it. Kind of just gives you, it's kind of like I don't know, I attribute it a little bit to a feta, not quite, it's a little bit different. But then you just wanna go in and you just wanna get some goodness. A lot of goodness. Okay, can I just say, that cheese at the end brings it all together. What I love, it's kind of simple when you think about it. You have a few components, except sweet corn is like the bomb, so it takes center stage. But then the chorizo comes out and gives you some great spices, gives you some great heft, just like a really good protein on the salad. And when you mix it with that dressing is just like, it's like that underlying thing that you're like, what is that? But you're just glad it's there. The cheese on top, the great lettuce. Guys, this is a salad that is just good. If you're not sure about salads, if your family's not sure, guess what? This is gonna change their mind. Possibly change your life. So what do I hope you do with it? Well, I hope you share it around. This video, share it around, because yeah, it helps me, but it helps so many people see how easy, fun, and delicious good food can be. If I can do it, you can do it. We can all do it. The world will be a healthier, happier, more delicious place. So whether it's from your garden, from a farmer's market, or from your local store, make sure to do it. Check my website, wiseguy.com. This recipe, so many other recipes. Until then, have some fun, be kind, make some good food. That's the point.